Hello, Kazuri. I'm waiting for my guest today to join. Hello, Simpe. Yay, there comes Keke. Cool. Fantastic. Hello, everybody that's joining. Keke is connecting.
Hi,
Lovely lady.
how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you doing?
Good sharp man.
Yo, I'm loving the her. Hey?
Oh, now it's getting. My kids are trying to eat this here, but you know how it is.
Heated.
I'm not.
How?
Yes, no, like I don't know. They have fascination, yeah, the so every time I've got this hair on, they try and figure out like why is it like this?
I'm sure wait, Mama, now normally you don't have hair like this. What's happening? Like,
Yes, yeah, especially now during lockdown. I'm usually like in a beanie, only when I have calls do I like, okay, where's my hair?
in your PJ pants, you're just like, okay, the hair, the top.
You know, exactly.
Yeah.
So the fix something to do my gear for these, and then wearing slippers and PJ pants, comfy as ever.
I feel like that's gonna be probably one of the hardest things when I have to like adjust to going back, if we're ever going to go back to office life. Just the dressing
Yeah.
up. I mean, I haven't worn heels in a span. So
Look, I practice, so maybe 2 or 3 times a week I'll put on my heels and just like walk around in the house. Because I also want to be ready for,
the
the
big
pageant. So I'm
yeah.
like, I don't want to be stumbling when the world is ready for us to be on that stage. I don't want to be stumbling. So I'm keeping my practice.
That's very good. I actually can't wait to hear about that part of the journey later on.
Yeah.
I can't wait. So I think let's give it like maybe just a minute just to have a few more people join and then we can go straight ahead. Are you are
Okay,
you
cool.
are you better than me in that? So I keep saying I need to get like one of those ish technology. Like a stand so that I can put my phone on it. I haven't yet gotten that. Do you at least have that?
That's exactly what I'm using. A ring light.
Oh, you're so advanced, girl.
Girl.
I need to do better. Somebody recommended something for me, so I'll be doing better. But my next week, so I'm gonna make a plan.
So I think you can get one for China Mall. That's why I got mine,
Yeah.
and it was a fraction of the price you would pay like on these online stores. So
Really?
it was, yeah, it's not. I mean, I'm not like a professional makeup artist where I need like super powerful lighting. So it works for me. But usually what I do is I find natural light in the house because I feel
Yeah.
like that works better than any light could ever work. So I just use it as a stand, and then if need be, maybe for pictures or whatever, then I would switch it on. But other than that, yeah. And you can also get like one of those ones that almost look like a mini tripod. It looks like a robot in Moto A3. It's
Oh
like
yes.
a,
Yeah.
yes, that you can get at Hi-Fi Co. So that it's nice because you can put it on your desk and stack it on books and then use that and change it around.
Okay. No, thank you for the heads
Yeah.
up. You always know these things. So yeah. Shall we get into it?
I think I'm a bargain hunter, so
I literally yesterday I was at a what's it like a thrift store where there's like I buy my books, a lot of my books from there, and I was telling a friend of mine because I went to show her, and I was like, this Keke lady that I'm interviewing tomorrow, that I'm having a conversation with, you should see her home, like the stuff that she like just works her magic. She knows how to work her magic,
it's called Pinterest obsession.
which is very good because I'm inspired. One day I'm gonna come and visit you at your house because I really want to see like it live what things look like.
Absolutely. Can COVID allow us? Can we be great?
I said, please, soon enough, soon enough. Cool.
Yeah, and how are you doing?
No, I'm good. I'm good. It's really cold today. Like even when I was dressing up, I was like, oh my gosh, like winter is such a bore. I don't know what to
Yeah.
wear. So I've got a mess on my bed because I was like, does this jersey work? Does this one work? But I'm warm
Yeah.
and I've got a blanket on my lap, so I'm nice and comfortable. So we can
I
shoot.
was wearing a coat and now I've decided to put it like here because I'm like, okay, I'm not comfortable, but my legs are a bit feeling cold, so I've got that on.
Okay, so are you also comfortable now?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, perfect. So I think let's go for it. Just as a start, I'd like to start with this question: who's Keke? Like, we just want to know who Keke is for everybody that's connected. Obviously, I know you, but everybody else
Yeah.
doesn't. So, who is Keke?
Okay, so sure. It sounds like an easy question, but it's kind of a difficult question because you need to also like almost like go back in time and then bring it nicely. So Keke is a girl originally from Bloemfontein, now living in Johannesburg. I'm married, with two kids, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. I've been
Good.
married for 5 years now. Yeah, I know. A lot of people are like, hmm.
How are you
So
staying sane? Gee whiz. Woo.
I'm not.
You're barely.
um, I'm barely surviving. So yeah, I'm mom of two, married for 5 years. I work full time. I've got a side business going. I'm a creative. I consider myself a creative through and through. I'm passionate about self-love and mental health. And I, what did I miss? Yeah, and that's it. And that's me
You
in a
and
nutshell.
you say in a nutshell, you say that's me, like these are small things that you just dropped. I mean, the very first thing I was like, 3 years and 1 year, and you have a corporate job and you've got
Yep.
your side hustles. I mean, you've got
Yes.
it's the one where you're making the leather products. I've seen, I think you
Yes.
also
Rustic City. So Rustic City, we make handmade leather products. So what I did was, like I'm saying, I'm like a super creative. So what I try and do is always learn a new skill, whether it be for creative fulfillment or for making money. So what I did was I sold my wedding dress, and with that money, I decided to enroll at this leather school. It's called SA Leather Academy,
okay.
and you go there for like 2 weeks and you learn how to work with leather.
Do you actually, I mean, I've seen your the Rustic City page. Do you actually
Yeah.
like, I mean, in my mind, I can't conceptualize or even imagine. Do you, because they're handmade, are you sewing? Are you,
So I saw you literally, they teach you how to take a full skin, draw a pattern, cut it up, glue it together, and hand sew it. So I actually punch holes. They give you all the tools that you need. So you punch holes in the leather and you hand sew it. So you use, actually, I was making sunglass pouches the other day, and you use you use this, which is like a leather, it's like waxed thread.
okay.
It's very nice. I even love the smell. Yeah, it's like waxed thread. So you just use these thick needles and then you stitch your leather.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first came across your products online, I was like, did she really make these? Like,
No,
it's
it's made like made. I always tell people sometimes I'm sitting watching series and stitching up a bag, So that's how it is.
wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That is so
Hey,
amazing. And I think I'm so inspired. I mean, you're someone who's holding the corporate job, like you've introduced yourself already, as a graphic designer, am I correct?
yes, graphic design. So I work in one of the big banks, and I've been with the team for, I think it's going on 7 years. Wow, I can't believe it. I think I started in 2013.
Yeah.
But somehow my design career, my graphic design career has always been in finance for some odd reason. Because before then I was at an online insurance company working there as a graphic designer. And then I did a little stint at Taboo, the nightclub. So I was working at Taboo as a graphic designer for a few months before I joined the bank.
Okay.
Yeah. So what also makes me always try and do creative things for myself, like basically fulfill my creative spirit, is that my boss, when he hired me in 2013, he said to me, he's like, the work that you're going to do here is not going to satisfy you in terms of making sure that you're happy creatively. So you need to make sure that you've got an outlet. And he asked me in the interviews, like, what do you do for fun? And I was like, no, I decorate my house. I like collecting stuff and reworking them and stuff. So he was like, okay, then it's great because I'm not going to have to worry about you getting bored at work. And after a year saying, you want to leave because you feel frustrated, you're not, doing what you thought you'd be doing in terms of your design. So, it's a bank. It's pretty, bank-ish. So there's not much craziness that you can apply to the work that you're designing. So every now and then I'll throw in a bit of craziness, but I know I need to stick to certain boundaries. And, the fact that I work on very confidential stuff for clients, it means I also can showcase my work. So then I figured, you know what, I need to be able to have an outlet where I know I'll be redoing my house so that I can display that I'll be making these bags and know that, somebody's got something that I've crafted and, because that gives me joy.
Oh, wow. Because I was wondering, I was like, when I was asking you earlier in the week, I was like, I wasn't 100% sure. I knew you were in graphic design, but I was like, at a bank, like, I don't see, like you say, you don't have much scope in terms of what you
Yeah.
would be able to do elsewhere. So it's actually so interesting that your boss, and Ole actually says it to say your boss is boss, because
Yeah, he's
I
an
think that's not,
amazing guy. Yeah.
yeah, that's not something that we in the corporate world like to hear. They call it the gig
Yeah.
economy. The gig economy is not something that's promoted a lot. So it's amazing to hear that you've got someone like that who is leading you and who said, look, we don't want to stifle you. We want you because you've got the skill, but we also want to
Yeah.
nurture and keep you alive. So make sure you do have those projects. Sure.
Yes. And I think he also made sure because he's like, I know when you are at your best, you also be doing your best at work. So I think a lot of leaders in business, they find it difficult to understand that, you can't police people and force them to be the way you want them to be. If you want them to perform for you, set them free and they
Yeah.
will do them. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Um, Inclusion has commented earlier, and she was just saying you must please share the name of the leather school because she just wants to share that with her mother. And she's got another
Okay.
question. Are your pieces customized or do you also sell off the shelves? And if so, what are your distribution channels?
Okay, so I used to customize before, but then it started being very expensive for my customers. So I decided, you know what, I'll do one bag, and the best I can do is maybe like customize by putting your name on it, engraving a name on it. Because for me to create a pattern, because when I make a bag, I have to make a pattern, do a mock bag first, and then make the final bag that I will then sell to the client. So then it becomes a bit expensive because then I carry those costs. So it didn't make sense because people didn't want to, you tell them, okay, I'll make you the bag the way you want it, but it's going to cost you 5K. Then they're like, shoof, okay, no, I'm not ready to spend that. So I had to think about my target market and what would be the best for them. So I think for now, what I do is I only do sell the bags that I've made. And I had a website, but it's now down because I feel like it's not at its best. So I'm working on something. It's probably going to be launching in the next week or two. And
Okay.
at the moment, we sell from Instagram and Facebook, and we've got our WhatsApp number there as well. So you're able to just WhatsApp us and make an order. And once the order is through and you've made your payment, then I start working on the product and then we ship.
So how long does it take on average, like from the initiation to say, I found something that I like? How
Yeah.
long does it take to actually have the final product?
So it would take about, I usually say 7 working days,
Mhm.
but sometimes it's less. So some of the stuff I would make a lot, and then when people buy, we just then ship them. But most of the time, I would say as soon as you've paid, it will take about 5 days, at most 7.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Busi is just asking, and I know her as well. She's very like entrepreneurially inclined, and she's just
Yeah.
asking, if you've
If
considered
I've
other,
considered e-commerce.
yeah.
Yeah, so I have, and my struggle right now as a small business is finding the right suppliers at the right cost because obviously, I'm funding this from my own pocket, and it becomes so difficult because with other platforms or retail or whatever, they're very strict. If they tell you that they want 100 bags, that you need to have those 100 bags. So with me having a full-time job and all of that, it's a bit of a struggle. So what I try and do now is sell myself and then see in the future possibly I will branch into that once I feel like I've now committed. And before lockdown, I'd actually found a guy that we were working with and we were doing well because I could then just say, hey, this is the bag, this is, please recreate this bag, and you're able to do that. But now when we went into lockdown, I had to go back to doing stuff myself again. So, it's like those glitches that keep happening. But I mean, it's life. I'm learning and it's great.
Amazing. I saw this
Yeah.
morning you also actually you're saying something about another side hustle. What's that one about? Like
No. I was chatting to my tax person. So we also, because when you own your own business, you are the accountant, you are the model, you are the assistant,
everything.
you are the courier guy, you are everything. So this year I decided that I'm going to stop doing everything myself and I'm going to support other Black female-owned businesses, to do what I would normally do myself and actually do it faster and be more productive. I think as a perfectionist, I'm so obsessed with doing something myself and making sure that, which is the same problem I ran into when I did the website. I wanted to do it myself. I want to do the logo myself. I want to do the packaging myself. I want to do everything myself. But this year I was like, no, girl, change your strategy, get an accountant, get somebody who's going to do your website, get this. I'm at that point where I'm just delegating right now because I've got so much on my plate, and for my own peace of mind, emotional health, mental health, that's what I'm doing. And it's
which
actually working out.
which is so amazing. I think, Busi actually makes a good point to say you are collaborating. I think it's such a powerful
Yes.
thing. Often we think on our own we can get far, but actually
Yes.
together we get further, even further, because there's somebody who's skilled. You're not skilled at everything. And when I say we're not skilled at everything, because even acknowledging that, like you're saying, you're a perfectionist and you like your things done in a certain way. So somehow you convince yourself that, okay, if I do it, I'm going to get it right. But without actually tapping
Yes.
into getting people who are actually super skilled at what they do, and it saves you time in the process as well. So I think I'm very
Exactly.
I'm very happy that you've
I've
gotten.
been, that has been my biggest trip. Like, I am so obsessed with getting things done the way I want them to be done, to the point where, because I work with my husband as well, if he does something and I'm just like, ish, had I been the one to do this? Like, so I get, I get so intense. So even now we've decided that, what? I'm going to run with this. He will just consult because he's like, you need to get out of the studio. You are holding back, uh, progress, because now if my bags are, maybe there's something that's skewed that's going on there, I decide, okay, this one we're not gonna sell, we're just gonna chuck it because I wouldn't want someone to own it and I know it's got a mistake on it. And he's like, you need to let go of wanting everything to be so perfect. The beauty in the product is the fact that it's handmade, it's not machine made, so there's no ways it's going to be perfect. So I'm also learning in this process, letting go of those small little things that are holding me back. But yeah, I am learning. It's difficult, but I'm getting
Well done. I mean, it's so
there.
refreshing to hear you say that,
Yeah.
because I think we don't acknowledge it enough to say this is the process, this is where I'm at, this is how far I've come, and I'm learning
Absolutely.
to let go with whatever I perceive as perfection. So
Yeah.
when I first saw those products online, I was just like, that's why I said earlier, I was like, what did she really make this? I was just like, and I mean, the more I kept going, I was like, she really did. So wow, well done. Now,
Thank you.
I think it
The
takes me.
beautiful thing about making the stuff myself is that when I get an idea, I don't have to wait for a specific shop to open for me to get a mock going. I can just go into my garage and chop the leather up, stitch it up, and decide, okay, we're launching this Monday. Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so you mentioned your husband, and Lore of Kiki saying that she agrees with your husband. And who's that? Somebody else just said, Sikisi says you got the husband of the year for a lifetime. I think it brings me
Yes.
to just saying the importance also of your support structure. I think that's such an important piece. So who
Yes.
are people around you that help you? I know you mentioning your husband and the role that he's playing, but how have you
Yeah.
ensured that, raising, being a mother to a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old as well, how are you juggling
Yes.
in terms of your support structure?
So I've got a live-in helper,
Mm-hmm.
Keke Moeca. She is one of the most amazing people I've met. And what I love about her is that she values herself, so I know, the fact that she loves herself to the point where she will be able to, love my children, love us, because it's very difficult when people are not in the right space. They are not able to be the right kind of support for you. So this woman, I mean, she's incredible. She will do just about anything to make sure that my girls are okay, and I'm able to then do me and got peace, knowing that, somebody at home has got my back. I'm able to go to events if I need to go to events. I'm able to go to work. Sometimes you got tight deadlines and I work late knowing that they're sorted. And before, when we were pregnant with our first, we decided that we don't want a live-in helper because, I mean, it's our kid. We'll raise her. And then we gave birth, and then week 2, we were like, yo, okay, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, Boa.
So very quickly, we were able to just like, call our friends up and ask, are you guys able to help us find someone? We are struggling, and I was very emotional at the time. And I said to my husband, I don't want to be at home with my mom or your mom. I want to be with you because I feel safe with you. And I feel like the two of us can make the mistakes with this baby and not judge each other because we don't know, versus somebody else who's saying, no, you should have done this. Back in my day, we used to give the baby this. So, it was great for me to be home for those first few weeks. And after that, I just felt like I want to be in my own space and I want to go home and I want to be with my husband. And he was awesome. What he used to do for me when I was home was amazing. He would leave the house in the morning, make me lunch boxes throughout the day, and then bring them up to the bedroom with Oros in a jug. And he'll tell me, it's like, see you when I get back. So I never had to even leave my bedroom. I was there with the baby. It was winter. And I could just snack on my scaftini the whole day, take a bath when the baby takes a nap. And then within no time, he'll be like walking through the door, like, hey, it looks like you guys haven't even left the room. I'm like, why would I need to leave the room? You've sorted us out for the day. So he was also amazing in coming through for me in that way.
Sure. What an amazing partner.
Yeah.
And I was listening to you so closely. You kept saying when we were pregnant, when we gave birth, like that. I don't know if
Yes.
you're conscious of it, but the fact that even your choice of
I didn't
word.
even I didn't even pick it up. I guess for me it is us.
It
We
is
were going
you.
through it together. Yeah. And I think it's probably even like how the process of us even giving birth, like he was there 100%. With our second child, we did a water birth and he was right in the water with me, cheering me on. So I mean the two of us are like two
Skim.
peas in a pod.
Like,
Skin, thick, yeah.
wow. So you
Yeah.
being creative, because you've obviously, described at the beginning of the conversation how much of a creative you are, and I've seen your work. I mean, I've seen the pieces in your home. There's one picture, I think, with his old beer bottles where you've like sprayed them up. I love that. Like that, I was like,
Oh, yes.
I would have never thought
That
of
was
that.
actually, I think that was for my baby. That was for my baby shower,
Yep.
and I like nice things, but I don't like spending a lot of money. So I always find ways of reusing what I have. And my husband, I hope he doesn't kill me. He drinks a lot of beer. So I have a lot of beer bottles in the house. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, and he drinks like dingutu, because he's like, it's like a draft. He likes a big jug, so he'll put the whole thing in there, and it's like I'm right at the pub. He doesn't have to leave the house. He's a homebody, so he prefers being home. So we've got a lot of those bottles. We've got a lot of dumpies. So what I decided to do was to then paint them up in like white and bronze, and then use them as centerpieces for the long table that we created in our garden for the baby shower. I also we did the baby shower ourselves. So that was quite nice.
Wow. Man, listen, lady, your ideas. I'm just like, when I see something, you bring something to life, I'm like, what? Kelly, I mean, you're gifted the creative side. Ole earlier on in this conversation was saying that she's not that creative. So with your husband, would you say, I mean, you're saying he's very supportive and that's what we hear a lot of. With the ideas that come up, does he like let you just run with them? Or, because I can imagine being a creative, there's a lot of things that excite you. There's a lot of things that you can conceptualize and come up with. So can
I
you
think
handle that?
for us, the beautiful part is that we actually met in varsity. He's also a graphic designer. So he
Oh,
was my senior in varsity. So he gets where I'm coming from. And most of the time where I'm like, ish, I want this thing that I saw on maybe in this shop, but it's this much. But I think we can actually make it ourselves, and it's gonna cost us this much. So he loves saving money. So he's always like, if it's cheaper, I'm all for it. I'll help you.
yeah.
So I'm always like I always feel like he's my app. Like I'll come up with an idea and I'll say, "Oh, this wall, I wish it could be like this," and he'll say, "Okay, buy the stuff, and then I'll help you do it." But he ends up actually doing most of the work. But because then I'll be like, "Yeah, you need to go to the left, Nyana. Yeah, knock the nail on the left, and then put that there." So I just spew out instructions, and then he's very handy, so he enjoys it as well.
Oh, that's amazing. You guys are quite a tech team.
Yeah,
Um,
we're a tech team, and it helps because we are stingy as well. So we always like, no, we'll make it.
it's not like one is super extravagant and the other one like super conservative, wanting to save the rands and cents. You like rocking the same
Yeah.
boat.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so question: what have one of the biggest lessons you have learned about your relationship with yourself through motherhood and entrepreneurship been? So, biggest lessons about your relationship
Listen,
with self. Mm.
biggest lesson, patience. I am impatient, and when I visualize something, I want it to be exactly the way I see it, and I want it now. Sure, kids will test your patience. I literally, you know, um, even now, like my 3-year-old, we're struggling with her with potty training, and I get so frustrated because I'm always like, sure, so and so's kid has like been making a wee by herself like for a long time, but I've realized that I need to give her the time and space to grow. And just like with my business, I cannot want to be like billboards, TV ads, I have to go through all the steps, the necessary steps for me to be able to handle what comes with being on the billboard. So I'm now learning to just chill a little bit and ease into things.
Wow. So, would you say
Yeah.
motherhood has been that catalyst for you, having children? Because, like you say, they.
Marriage, baby, marriage.
Oh, yeah. Tell us more.
Look, so Kevin and I, okay, we've been dating. We were dating, I think, 6, close to 7 years before we got married. And it was great. But I think the one thing that tripped me up when we got married, the fact that when I got upset, I couldn't leave, me, was like a big, for me, it was just like, sure. So now what must happen? I don't want to talk to this person. He's, yeah, so I had to learn, so much about myself within that space, and we decided that the first year we are not going to fall pregnant. So we planned it. We made sure that that first year we're going to enjoy it. We're going to find ourselves within the marriage, you know, the storming and forming, norming, all of that. We're going to figure ourselves out. And, you know, it's not like we figured ourselves out completely now, but it did help for us to give us that, to give each other that break before we had kids. Because I think, you know, when you throw kids in the mix, there's no time for you to, you know, sometimes you can't even take time out to have a adult conversation because there's a little person right next to you. So you often have to park things nicely and then revisit them, and in such a way that it doesn't reopen that wound so rough, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah.
it's been like, I suppose, so the marriage was like just discovering that, like you say, you got upset and you couldn't just walk away. It was like a building block. So by the time then kids came, it was just like, okay, I've learned to deal with things a little bit better, to be a bit patient. So yes, there are these minions around me, but
Yes.
I started at a point, and here we are
Yeah.
building. There was a question around. Hang on. Whew. What advice
Okay.
would you give to someone under 30 without kids about having kids?
Sure. I would, I think sure, that's a difficult question. Because I think I had my child at 30, 31.
Mm.
So I would say don't rush. Don't feel like you are left behind. I used to feel like that in my 20s. I always felt like, and I used to pressure Kevin. I was like, you know, we've been dating for this long and I don't see any movement from your side. And you'd always be
Like,
like,
rather you gotta
I'm
put a
not,
ring on it.
yeah, he'd always be like, it's okay. Like there is no movement because when movement needs to happen, it will happen, you know? And I think once I made peace with that and I decided, okay, because a colleague of mine asked me, you like this guy, right? If he doesn't marry you ever, do you want to break up with him? And I said, no. And she's like, so then you're fine. You don't want to break up with him. You like him that much that you will stay with him even if he doesn't propose. And then once I was aware of that I actually like him so much that I couldn't care less. Maybe I want the marriage because I feel like, oh, I've got the best body right now to fit into a white dress, you know, and I had to like then now revisit why I want to get married. And once I was so cool with that and accepting of that, he just came out of nowhere, proposed and paid lobola in a week, and it was just like boom, 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 you know. So I would definitely say don't rush into anything. Everything happens at its own time, and when you are ready to receive it, it will be there for you.
Sure, those are such powerful
Yeah,
words.
nothing that is meant for you will miss you. Promise you that.
I love
Yeah.
that. Yes,
Yeah.
it will never ever miss you.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're doing quite a lot of things, and so being a mother, a wife, rustic city, holding a corporate job as a graphic designer, and also being Keke. Over and above that, you're also running for Mrs. South Africa. Like, wow, what's that journey like, the Mrs. South Africa journey?
Sure, it's everything I never thought it would be.
Mm.
So I'm not a pageant girl. I think last time I did a pageant was probably in like primary school or something. You know those community pageants where you win like a set of glasses and it's like, oh, nice. That's the last time I did a pageant.
Yeah,
That's the last time I did a pageant. So I'm not like a professional pageant girl. So I didn't know what pageantry entailed.
yeah.
So I just felt like, you know what? I've been giving birth, working hard, getting married, all these things, building a home. Let me do something for myself where I'm going to focus on myself and just be a girly girl and enjoy all the nice things that come with being in a pageant. Ah, then I enter the pageant and it's completely different. And by that, I mean in a good way. Like, this is like a women empowerment program. Like, you meet amazing women the skills that they teach you are amazing. So it's not like, oh, you've made it into the semifinals. We'll see you in 3 years' time. In 3 months' time when we choose top 25 or whatever. You know, there are steps that you take in getting to that top 25. There's fundraising. There's all these other things that I never knew about because I'm not a pageant girl. You know what I mean? So it's been a nice surprise because I'm also seeing the benefits as a businesswoman in terms of how to, take myself out there and go for what I want, and how to handle myself in interviews, how to write up a proposal, things like that I never thought I needed in life. But now I'm like, actually I can use this in my business. Actually I can use this at work. Actually I can use this in my marriage. So I feel like it's benefiting me. It's literally a Mrs. South Africa. It's benefiting everything that I'm doing in my life. So it's been a nice addition.
So you said, so what stage are you guys at now? This is top 25.
So no. So we still 100. They're gonna choose top 50 in August. So yeah, so they're doing virtual judging now because of COVID-19, and so now I'm like so nervous about that. But it is what it is. I have to. It's sink or swim. So I'm gonna swim.
How do we help? How do we help to get you there?
You can like my picture. It's on Facebook and the Mrs. South Africa page. The link is on my Instagram bio. You can also SMS Keke Moeca to 35959 as many times as you want.
I'm gonna put that up when we're done with our conversation. I'm gonna put it up in my story so that obviously people can do that. So
Yes, please.
And the final, so that the journey ends at what point? I know you're saying that the top 50 in August, and then when does it come to an end? Like, who knows the Mrs. South Africa?
So I think we were supposed to have picked top 25, I think now in July, but because of COVID-19 and events being and they'll be crowning next year in February.
Okay, in February. Okay.
Yeah. But there's like different stages. So if you follow me on Instagram, we always keep everyone up to date as to what's going on and what are the dates for each of the milestones.
Okay. Sure, amazing. I'm very excited for you for that. And I think you are such a queen. And I have no doubt in my heart and my mind that you are, listen, a queen. So you are well on your way there to the top. That's what I believe. I'm sticking to my story and that's it.
I really appreciate it.
Sure. Busi asked a question. So she wants to know, and I know she asked this again earlier, and I think it's quite an important question. So she was asking what role your support structure plays in the succession planning of your business, number one. And then number two, is your family also involved in making the bags, or is it just you alone?
So I make the bags with my husband. So after I did the course, I taught him because he was very interested. He's like, you know what, this is a great thing that you're doing. So I'm going to try and assist you and buy into the business. So he actually brought in some money and said, let me buy a piece of the business and you can teach me how to do the stuff so that when you are overwhelmed, I can help.
Wow.
And when I started making the bags, I was like heavily pregnant. So I think he was feeling bad that, I'm like slaving away in the garage, so he just decided that he's gonna join. So that's what we're doing at the moment. We alternate. But like I said, I've also got now a guy that we were working with before lockdown that he's very good as well, and he's assisting us because my husband's also got his own side hustles. So it's like many pieces moving, at the same time.
Yo, this is a real kingdom that you guys are running. Like there's this castle, king and a queen.
Easy.
And we like it. We like it. Because she's saying I missed her question. And I know her question was around, I'm going to go back to it now, but she was asking about basically right now, it's COVID-19. And how do you and your husband make sure that with all these demands, You keep the fire burning, really. How do you spice things up?
We try and make sure the kids don't nap during the day so that they are tired by the time it's evening. And like I said, my husband is like a homebody. He loves just chilling at the house. So he will like make a fire and he always makes sure we've got enough drinks. I forget to buy drinks. Can you imagine? He'll always make sure that we've got enough drinks and we can chill and have a nice conversation. So what we do, and we make sure that we also keep our bedroom hours, so most of the time the babies are not in the bedroom with us so that we can make sure that when it gets lit, right? Yeah, because I think it's very important to have a healthy relationship with your husband, a healthy sexual relationship. When you're not together, you can easily be separated by outside forces. So keeping that intimacy constant makes sure that you guys are connected and you are one. That actually makes you one, like same flesh. So I'm like up for that. So I'm always like, if he needs it, I'm ready.
Woo! You stay ready.
Yeah. Yes. And he does the same for me. So it's great. I think for that's what keeps us going. We make sure that we stay ready for each other.
Oof, wow. Keke, you said so many, like, I'm just thinking there's 24 hours in a day. Your day sounds like it's got 48 hours. And I'm just like, there's time for the bedroom to keep things burning. There's time for the babies. There's time for
Yes.
Mrs. South Africa and all you have to do there. There's time for Rustic City. There's time for your corporate job. How do you just keep your sanity and also as Keke, the individual? And I know that a lot of the things that you've mentioned, obviously you're passionate about. So like when you're creating the products and all of that, it's feeding your soul. When do you know? Because I mean, I look at myself and I know there's a certain point in time, I'm also like, I always have a lot of ideas and there's things that I want to do. But there are also times where I just want like complete silence and I need that silence to be able to just recharge me. So
Yes.
how do you, with all these roles that you play, then make sure that Keke is filled up? What do you do? What is it?
One of the most important things I do is to-do list in the mornings. So right when I wake up, I get to my desk or wherever I'm set up and I do a to-do list because I'm always of the thought that if you do a to-do list and you make sure that those things are ticked, you are then able to relax once they are done. So I don't even make a long to-do list, even if it's 3 things that I feel like today I'm going to focus on these 3 things. It just makes my day easier. And my family also knows, like, when I feel like I want to watch something on TV and I'm not getting up to make anyone's bottle, I'm not pouring anyone a drink, I'm not making food for anybody, they let me do that because they know that that's my time. So I'm very intentional about taking time out for myself and vocalizing it. Because I think people tend to just get annoyed that these people can't these people see that I don't want to be bothered. I make sure that people know. Even before this live, I made an announcement. I'm like, guys, I'm going into a live. Can you please hold the kids? Make sure nobody's knocking on the door, so they know. Like, I've been watching from where I'm sitting there outside running around. Kevin is busy with the kids. Osie's sitting in the sun with the other one, so they know that if I need an hour, they will give me that.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's what I do. I vocalize it. I make sure that they know that I'm not okay and I need time for myself.
Wow, that is such a profound thing you're saying. I think it's so important. A lot of the time, we want to make assumptions about people understanding. They can just pick up from my mood that, okay, I'm not smiling today or I'm not. So you need to be expressive and say, this is what I need. Today, I need the space. And
Yes.
I think too many times we're afraid of even saying that because people end up feeling, or you're worried that they'll take it some type of way. And it actually has nothing to do with them. It's just about you in that
Yes.
moment.
And this is something that I actually learned after I got married because I always assumed Kevin is my person. He will feel that, I'm not okay. But soon after we got married, I think we went to my cousin's wedding or a friend's wedding. I'm not sure whose wedding. go to a lot of weddings, which I love. I love going to weddings because you learn something all the time. And one of the speakers said, this person is not a sangoma. You are also not a sangoma. They don't know. They're not psychic. If you don't say it, they will not know it. So from that day on, I made it a point to say, even when I'm crying, I must say, these are tears of joy. These are tears of whatever, so that the other person understands why I am the way I am. So I always say how I feel. I feel it's important so that tomorrow I can say, I was feeling this way and I felt like you weren't giving what I was telling you attention. This is how I felt. They can never come back and say, oh, I didn't know. I said it. It's that simple for me. Yeah.
Is this something that you got better at with time? Like just being able to express that? I know people are different, and look, I've been in your presence and I know, Shem, you are just a bubbly somebody and you speak. But even with that, are you, because for somebody else, it's like, oh my gosh, like I can't just say this particular thing. Did you have to work at it to get to that point where you just express yourself in that way?
I definitely had to work at it because I am somebody who doesn't like hurting other people or making other people feel uncomfortable. But I had to get to a space where my self-love, taking care of myself comes first. Because if I can't take care of me, then I can't take care of other people. So I had to realize that it doesn't help I spare the feelings of others, and I sacrifice myself, then I am doing an injustice to myself. So I had to learn, okay, if you want to be healthy, emotionally healthy, you need to be more expressive about your feelings.
Wow.
And I actually realized it makes me so uncomfortable, but it makes me uncomfortable for a reason. I need to then deal with why it makes me uncomfortable. So I go to therapy all the time. I'm that person. I'm that girl. If I'm feeling some type of way, I will just book an appointment with my therapist and make sure that I speak about whatever makes me uncomfortable, deal with the root of the cause of those feelings. Because you are responsible for your feelings, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
100%, 100%. And I think with us, you're a black woman, I'm a black woman. The way that we grow up, I think we never grew up with therapy being a thing. It's, you know what, like, there's that joke, there's that meme that says how you've got so much meat in your fridge and you're like depressed or whatever the case may be. And only now, as we grow older, we've got to break free from some of those ideas or the way we were raised. It's like, look, I have a thing, I have an issue, I have something that I don't know. I've tried to unpack it on my own, and I actually need someone to help me unpack it. So you're saying that that's something you're always up for that because it's important.
I'm up for that. I'm up for that. I just feel like that is self-love at its core. Like, make sure that you are okay. Forget everybody else. If I'm not okay, I cannot even think about anybody else. You know what I'm saying? It means I will not be able to be there for my children, for my husband, for my mom, sisters, anyone, if I'm not okay. So if it means then I break away so that I'm going to go heal, then that's what it needs to happen. So people need to deal with the choices that I make when it comes to me protecting my peace. I do it unapologetically.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're such a queen. My Mrs. South Africa. You're such a queen.
You can see it. Can you see the crowd? Can you see it?
When I see it, I feel it, the energy, the vibrance, the life, like every in this conversation. And I said to you, remember I said to you, because I've got a list of people when I started doing these sessions. And I was thinking initially, I was sitting one day and I was like, okay, these are the people, there's a list. And not all the people that are on this know yet. So it's like with time that they get only when I get in touch with them, I'm like, listen, you've been on my list. And I'm so happy that you haven't been on my list, you agreed to doing this, because I really think having watched you from afar, having met you and being around you and knowing your energy and how you lead, you truly embody what a queen is. And I think so many of us from this conversation, we are touched in so many ways. And I've just been looking at the comments that people are making. Um, Basically, everybody's on some power to you. And I think there's so much that we're walking away with. Um, and like I said, I'm going to share because I see people are also saying, must SMS your details
Yeah.
so that in the competition because I think you really stand a good chance. So I'm going to share that in my stories. But before you do go, what would you say? I like to always end with this part, but what is it that is your life philosophy, for lack of a better way to put it? Basically, your mantra. What do you live by?
Sure. I just live, like I said, self-care, right? So for me, I'm all about making sure that my mental health is tops. And if you're not, I always feel like society, we try and fix so many things in our society, but we don't, charity begins at home. We don't start with ourselves.
Whew.
And you can heal the world out there, but if you don't heal from within, we are just spreading whatever virus from generation to generation because we learn from where we come from, right? So I always feel like if people can work on themselves and make sure that they are mentally healthy, emotionally healthy, then they'll be able to give that to the world. And in
So,
return, you have people that know their worth and won't back down for anything. And when you have people like that that know their worth, they're unstoppable. And we won't be trying to patch up so many gaps. Do you know what I mean? So self-worth, self-love, mental health, emotional health, do that for yourself. That's what I live by. I choose me before I choose anybody else.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I just feel like I'm like, whew, I don't want the conversation to end. I'm like, can I just have her sitting here next to me and having this chat? And I think, too often we underestimate the role that we play by, you coming on board and having this conversation with us. You'll be amazed at the ripple effect it has. Like how many people
Yeah.
walking away, including myself, walking away.
Yes.
I'm lying in bed later, just meditating on your words and thinking, she was talking about self-love and how she chooses herself. And I think it's not even when you're living, I think you're always your authentic self from what I've picked up. I love
Yeah.
it. Please keep doing
No,
it. Please keep
thank
doing
you.
it.
I will. I will. I will. I mean, for me, it's always that situation where I feel like I've got my little girls now that are watching me. If I'm not true to me, how do I tell them tomorrow to be true to themselves? You
Mm.
know? Um, and my happiness will determine their happiness. If I'm miserable, they will be miserable. So when you choose yourself and you're happy in your own space, I'm not even expecting anybody to make me happy. Like my husband, Shame, he's great, but I'm not going to put that pressure on him. It's all about me. I create that space for myself and he can join me in my space, right? Yeah. And he loves himself and I love him for it. When he
Mm.
doesn't want something, he'll tell you, this, I'm not going to go for this because I'm not going to feel cool about it. And it's like, okay, you can't argue with it when somebody's choosing themselves. So I must then decide, okay, how do I best support you as your partner? So that's it.
Yo. Fifla's making a comment here and it gave me goosebumps because exactly what you said. You said when
Yeah,
people know their worth, they're unstoppable. And she's quoting you because these are your words. And it's so
yeah,
true.
yeah.
Look at you and how you're
Yes,
flying.
yes.
So,
And I'm loving my flight. I'm in
sure.
first class of my flight.
Yes, honey. Why must you be in economy right there at the back close to the no.
Oh,
No.
I'm choosing. It's my plane, Moose. Yeah, first class.
Proper. Exactly. Even the pilot. Like at this stage I feel like you are sure. Yo.
No,
Taking
I mean, you have to make your journey worthwhile with everything in life. I think enjoy each and every moment. And sometimes it becomes very difficult. It becomes very difficult to stop and smell the roses. It sounds very cliche, but you have to do that. You have to pause, absorb. The other day I was so annoyed because we're working on some parts of the house and whatever. And I was like, oh, like when this ends, I just wanna, but then I stopped and I'm like, actually, this is all I've ever wanted. I bought this house and we've been wanting to work on it and now we're working on it. How cool is it that we're working on the house? And we just decided, let's go grab a drink, sit in the garden and watch people work on the house because we worked hard and people are working on the house. So it becomes, you get carried away and you forget to stop and smell the roses. But when you do get a chance, remind yourself
True.
that this is what you were planning. This is
Pat
what you
yourself
were
on the
planning
back.
to do.
On the
Yeah.
back.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Small victories, you must be more or enjoy those small victories.
And I think it's through even like with those small, or I always say it's a perceived small victory. I mean, if you have to speak to somebody else, it's a big victory, but I mean, it's your
Yes.
journey. Those little
Yes.
things that you say, man, it gives you,
Yes.
it even like reignites you as a person and just injects some sort of life into you where you had become, I think as human beings in any case, we very quickly forget where we come from and where we are at that point in time. We just think, oh well,
Yes.
I've been here. So if you had to put a new light, for example, in at your place,
Yes.
you're like, "Ah, it's just a light." But if you really pause and look back at where you come from, then you realize how much way you've
Yeah.
made, really.
Yes, you
So
look at the fact that at some point you were hoping that one day you'd be able to put in that light. And now
mm,
it's happening. And because it's happening, you feel like, oh, okay, this is supposed to happen. But always track back and remember at some point I dreamed of this and now I'm living it. We are so goal orientated that we forget the journey. So note it for yourself and pat
sure.
yourself on the back. Yeah.
Sure, Keke. Like, yay, man, we're thinking. I'm feeling
Yeah,
good.
man.
I'm feeling good. Like this chat, I am so happy. I'm so
I'm
happy.
so happy. I'm so
True.
happy to have joined you. I feel like I've missed you. I think we hadn't seen each other in such a long time, and we've only seen each other how many times? Like twice.
Twice, twice.
Twice, right? But somehow when you meet people and you connect with them, it's always nice to have that catch up and have nice conversations. So I really appreciate you doing this.
Sure. Thank you. And thank you for not even hesitating when I said, please join me in this
Yeah.
conversation because I knew I didn't want to keep it to myself how much I get from you, like the light that you share, it's like small things that you're not even aware of, your jokey
Mm.
stuff, all the things that you put out
Yes.
there. So I'm so glad that you didn't even hesitate and you were happy to be on board. I'll
Yes.
actually what I'll do, so what I normally do, I save the conversation on my Instagram TV. Unfortunately, I haven't figured out a way to save it onto, like, there's no way actually that, because I've been
To
playing
save it
around with,
onto the phone.
yeah, there's no way to save it onto my phone. But I think that helps. And then I'll also send you the link. And then with all your, like your baby Rustic City, man, Rustic City.
Yes.
I'll share that information also on my stories, and I'll also share with everybody how to obviously vote for you to keep you in the Miss South Africa pageant because I think you've got everything it takes to take that crown.
Thank you so much. I'm so humbled. Thank you so much. I really appreciate those kind words.
Cool
And
stuff.
thank
And
you for everyone for joining us. The comments have been so amazing.
it's been
I
amazing.
actually wish.
Busi, are you reading the inclusion one?
Yes.
Yeah, so she's just reflecting. I think she's saying the conversation reminds her of the self-disruption convo on the Mesh Startup podcasts and how it's important to stop and smell the roses, the journey. Oh man.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Oh, amazing. Oh, goosebumps. Yes. Thank you.
Oh man. Yeah, thank you. And I wish you it's cold, so maybe you and hubby will be making more babies this tonight. I don't know. So
No. No babies. No babies. No, no, no. Not
okay.
not this year, not this year, because I'm busy with the Mrs. SA stuff. Maybe, but I'll never close myself to the idea of having more children. I always feel like it needs to be right for the both of you. It must feel right. And I also don't want to be like reckless.
Time is about
We
to cut
must
us. We've got 4 seconds.